followers do not correspond to whether or not you can get a blue check mark. So there's some basic steps you can follow, the kind of rules that you might want to think about. And before you apply for your blue check mark is, first of all, of course, you need to create a public page. You need to create regular content for it. And you need to engage with your followers or people who are liking it. You need to keep it an active page where people can go and talk and grow community. And then if you use the Facebook Mentions app, that helps you manage your public pages, and especially once they're verified, gives you some additional tools there. And then finally, you should boost your posts. You should buy some advertising on Facebook so that they know that you're interested in not only posting organic content, but actually posting sponsored content. And then having a website helps as well, so they know that you obviously you're not just a Facebook entity. So kind of following those simple steps, and if you do that, you should get approved most of the time. And the way I am saying that is because there's an excellent article that follows all that and where all that can be found, posted by Leonard Kim, on all about how he got his page verified. And so I highly recommend you read that if you're interested in getting your own page verified. He has a post on Inc.com or an article there called 10 Steps to Getting Verified on Facebook and Why You Need to. There's also, I think he posted it on Medium.com as well. And there's a link in the resources to that article. So you should definitely check that out. He goes step by step, the things I just laid out, and how and why to get a blue check mark. Once you're verified, you have access to the branded content tool, which is really kind of appears as an extra button when you are posting content. And that just gives you the opportunity to post a sponsored or attribute a post to a third-party sponsor or marketer. Not everything you post is going to use this button, but when you did receive money for content, or when you are explicitly advertising for a third-party product, service, or company or brand, then you should use that button and use the sponsored content, the branded content tool. This allows you basically to include a little tag in the back end. It includes a little sponsor tag, which then points to who the third party is. Why, and there you can see right here the branded content tool, where it shows up in the interface. And I'll walk you through that at the end of the webinar so that you can kind of see how it fits into Facebook. But right there, Facebook actually gives you a handy pop-up right before you use the button, does this post, and reminds you if you are featuring a third-party brand or product, you should use this tool, and you should also follow the policies involved. Now, what can branded content be? What sort of things on Facebook can potentially be branded content? Well, it really falls into all the regular types of Facebook content: photos, videos, links, text, instant articles, 360 videos, and of course live video, which is where we come into the picture. And so the example here in the picture is really one that Facebook uses in some of their documentation. But it's basically just a picture, a nicely photographed and edited photo, and then with a quick sort of call to action. Check out these 10 beauty products at our grocery store, and then it is posted by Style Now feed, and it is in conjunction with Jasper's Market, and that's sort of the tip-off that it gives you that this is a branded post. So basically, branded posts appear as a with post. The only time you'll see, so-and-so with so-and-so is if it's a branded tool. And that basically is that sponsor tag in action. You are basically identifying, in this case, Jasper Airlines as the sponsor. And what that enables Facebook to do, why that's important, is now the sponsor, in this case Jasper Airlines, can see the post just as if it was their own post. So it basically hooks them into the link and into the post, and now they can see how the post is performing. They can pay Facebook to boost it, so there's more opportunities for Facebook to make money. and then they can measure it and see how it's doing. So they can create an ad out of it and so forth. It's as if it was almost as if it was their own post. And of course, marketers and sponsors love that, because if they're paying somebody to post for them, they also want to kind of be able to see how the post is doing, what they're getting for their money. Now, of course, as I said earlier, Facebook is very careful in what types of posts you and branded content posts you and everybody else puts on Facebook. So they've talked with users, and one of the things that they've gotten a lot of feedback about is a lot of Facebook users don't want to be explicitly marketed to. They don't want a blaring advertisement in their face, a really hard sell. They don't want just obnoxious, over-the-top advertisements, infomercial style. And what they really, so they kind of encourage a much more low-key version, a more organic style of content. So there's some good policies, and I'll talk about where you can learn more and where the policies are. I'll even show you online, because we don't have time to go through all of Facebook's policies, all the requirements, but they're fairly straightforward and fairly simple to follow once you get the hang of it. So some do's and don'ts. If you are going to post a brand or product placement is fine. That's no problem. End cards at the end of live streams is fine. Thanking your sponsors. End cards at the end of a video, the brand or the product or the logo is fine. And then, of course, informative and inherently valuable content is encouraged and even preferred, and everyday type content. And of course, make sure all your posts follow all the policies that Facebook has, as well as following advertising law policies. Now, what you don't want to do is you don't want to, again, be overly promotional. You don't want to have a hard sell. You can't put pre-roll advertisements in front of a video. In other words, before the content even rolls, Facebook doesn't want other Facebook users to see an ad before they can even get to the content. So that type of pre-roll stuff you see on YouTube, for example, is not something Facebook really wants to do at this point, because it detracts from the experience for their users. And then persistent watermarks, where the logos are sort of obnoxiously hanging out in the middle of a broadcast, is, again, a no-no when it comes to branded content. Now, of course, you can have your own logos or your own watermarks on your content, but if you're advertising for a third party, you're getting money for it, then a persistent watermark is not allowed. And of course, do not change any of your organic Facebook content, like your cover photo, your profile pictures, any of the stuff that should be related to you and you alone. Don't suddenly sell that out to a third party. It's not what Facebook considers valid advertising space. Now, the branded content rules and policies are very well documented on Facebook. Facebook has a very good documentation on all of this and all of the tools and their different features and the things that they offer on the platform. So I really recommend you check that out. I'll show you where to go in a second. It's at facebook.com/facebookmedia, and you can find out everything you need to know and get started with all of these tools. But there are also some other places you need to get the policies and the rules in more detail. So you'll definitely want to check out the branded content policy. You'll also want to read the advertising policy on Facebook. They have prohibited and restricted content on Facebook, types of things that you can advertise, and what sort of form advertisements can take. And then you'll want to check out the Government and Federal Trade Commission online advertising. So let me show you real quick. I'm going to jump out of my slideshow, and we're going to go to my desktop here, and I'm going to show you exactly where that is. So the first place to sort of go is the facebook.com/Facebook-media. And so that's at facebook.com/Facebook-media. That's the link. Again, these links are all in the resources. You don't necessarily have to write that down, but just write down the resources. And then this will take you to sort of like their general blog and news and update page, but you'll want to click on the Get Started link here. That's going to take you to the page that you saw a picture of, and here's where you can really dive into all of these tools and all of these content, different areas of content. And I'd recommend checking, starting with the branded content page, because that's really what we're talking about here. And this is going to just give you a very good overview, how it works, what types of tools, those, and really give you a great sense, and even some sort of examples and tools that you can see. Now, the next thing you'll want here, right at the top, are actually links to the branded content policy and the ad policy. So you don't even necessarily need to write those down separately. They're going to show you where they are. Click on those, and that'll take you, for example, right over to the quick branded content policy. Very specific do's and don'ts. Read those, and then you'll also want to head back to the other page and read their ad policy. Another area, and then you can read all about restricted content, prohibited content, and so forth. And a lot of restricted content, you need to get written permission, or there's certain countries you can't advertise it, and so forth. So make sure that whatever you're advertising is compliant with these policies. The next thing that you'll want to know about, the next website you want to go to, is the federal FTC.gov website. And specifically this link to this document is a very long one, so I'm not going to read it out. It's in the resources link. But this is a document, 53-page document, posted by the Federal Trade Commission, outlining all the things you need to know about disclosures in digital advertising. What an ad should be and what it shouldn't be. The main keys here are that ads, they want ads to be clear. They want people who are seeing ads to understand that they are advertisements and not be under any misapprehension that there's no false claims or false advertising. I'm sure you've heard that term before. And so that everything is sort of obvious to people who are reading them. And what's great about this is that you can, basically, as you go through it, it's pretty straightforward, pretty easy to understand, but they'll talk about what disclosures are and why they need to be clear and conspicuous of what they are. They'll need to, they give you examples of everything, and then they'll talk about where disclosures should be. They need to be close to the ad or within an ad, so it's very obvious, and so forth. And at the end of the document, they actually give example after example after example after example of good ads and bad ads, what to do and what not to do. So this is a great place for you to get a very clear idea of what those are. And they even cover newer forms of advertising and newer platforms like tweeting. And, how do you, tweet an advertisement in such a small form, and how do you still meet disclosure requirements and so forth. So they give you all the guidelines you really need to follow. And that's where the hashtag ad comes in, because it's a short